The future greatest swordsman, ronarona Zoro. He could cut mountains in half with his 3 swords. Now, what if he somehow found himself teleported, or not teleported, but reincarnated into My Hero Academia as a boy named Izuku? This is part 3 of What If Deku was Zoro's reincarnation. Now roll that intro. So shout out to these people for being active in my channel and commenting on the video that I told them to put the funniest comment. And to be honest, I want to give myself a little joke too. Why did the Straw Hats go to jail? Well, because they mess with the law. Get it? Law.
Brother, this guy stinks!
Let's start. So while leaning into Momo, Zoro would put a finger slowly on her nose and tell her that she had a booger in her nose and drop her to the floor, making her hit the ground with a thud sound. Momo, instead of being mad, would start to blush because no man has ever treated her like that. Zoro was just the first to do that, and she kind of liked it, even though she was a little bit embarrassed, which caused her to run away. Aizawa would declare Zoro the winner of the little brawl and tell them that they should go home because they had a long day ahead of them tomorrow. While heading home, Zoro would stop to get some food and would be watching a villain fighting another villain. One of them with the air bending type quirk and the other one with the hair manipulation and growth type quirk. They were just screaming about someone stealing each other's money, and Zoro would just think in his head, so this is what this world meant by they were crackheads here. He would then get his stuff and start to leave, not wanting to get involved, and he would find himself at his master's agency with Momo waiting for him inside. "What's going on?" he asked, and Momo would look at him still blushing, and his master would tell him that he is going away for a while to pursue in a case of a villain that they believe is orchestrating everything from the shadows. And he would not go into further detail no matter how much Zoro asked to get more information. He would also tell Zoro that he expected for him to excel in class and to take care of Momo, with her saying, "Hey, I can take care of myself, thank you very much." The day would end and Zoro and Momo would head to school together. And once they arrived, they took their seats and waited for the teacher to come. While waiting, Bakugo would be trying not to make any commotion or comments because even though he wanted to explode and attack Zoro, he remembered that, yeah, his hands were cut off, so he don't want to mess with him. "I'm walking through the door like a normal person," All Might announced while coming in. All the students would start to be surprised, cheering, saying, "Oh my lord, it's All Might. I didn't know he was going to be a teacher at UA." All Might would start to explain what their assignment or drill would be for today, and the suitcases carrying their hero costumes would pop out from the walls, and All Might would tell them to put them on and for all of them to meet him at their training facility or training center. Zoro's costume is somewhat of something traditional that he wore in one of the movies. It looks really cool to me, so that's why I chose it, and I hope you guys like it too. I'll put an image of it right on the screen, and yeah, let's continue with the story. When Zoro arrived at the training center, he would think in his mind that, "I wonder how Luffy's doing," and then he would look around at the students and walking, flashing their costumes, and Zoro would start to laugh at Mineta and Uraraka's costume mostly, and telling all the students that they looked absolutely ridiculous. All Might would tell them that they would be drawing random slots to, get into the hero versus villain teams, and Zoro would be excited, saying that he finally gets to fight somebody again, but he wishes he could fight someone more powerful. He would look at All Might and tell him that he should join the opposing team because it would be more fun for him, and All Might would decline, saying that this is just a test for the students, that he doesn't want to join in. while All Might remembers what Aizawa told him about the fight with him and Momo. And he would then inform Zoro that he would have to intervene if things got too out of hand. Zoro would smile and start making a plan in his head of somewhat, and him and Uraraka would get paired up and they would go against Bakugo and Ida. Zoro and Uraraka entered the building and would begin to go through the building, trying to find the bomb, when all of a sudden they began to hear explosions coming their way. Uraraka would ask, "What is that?" as she began to look around, but Deku already knew this was Bakugo, and he would tell her to run, but it was a little bit too late. Bakugo would burst through the wall as he shot explosions towards Deku, and Deku would draw one of his swords and slice the explosion in half, stopping it. As Bakugo began to get angry and swung at Zoro, blasting explosion after explosion, lightning would cover Zoro's sword and he would swing at Bakugo, going through the explosions and slicing a part of Bakugo's chest and the explosions as well. This angered Bakugo as he grabbed Deku, and he rushed and grabbed Deku and threw and punched him, knocking him back a little bit. Deku would drop his swords a little kinda, and he would say, "No sword style." King Kong punch or some shit. I don't know what the fuck it's called. I think it's called King Kong punch. And he would punch Zoro in the chest, knocking him away, and then he would pick up his swords and say, "3 sword style, dragon twister," as a dragon made of wind shot towards Bakugo, destroying everything in its path. And the dragon was a tornado type, kind of. Would grab Bakugo and would be ripping apart his clothes and some of his skin, and it would have collapsed with Ida. Uraraka is still inside as Bakugo's hero. Uraraka still inside of the building would be a little bit scared because the rubble was falling from the floor, and she would be a little bit hesitant and yelling, "Stop it, slow down, or we might get hurt." Bakugo's hero costume would start to rip apart like paper due to the tornado, and once he finally got outside of it, he would yell, "Damn you, Deku!" Or, shit, I don't know, fuck. I just realized that he doesn't know that, yeah. He would yell, "Damn you," and pull off a pin as he smiled and said, "Go to hell," as a massive explosion shot at Zoro, and Zoro would smile and uttered, "No, you shall go to hell," as he raised his swords and wind slashes of a huge amount of gusts of wind blew away the explosions and sent Bakugo flying into a wall, breaking it, going through it. As Bakugo was falling down, All Might would appear and grab Bakugo from the air and land inside the building and tell Deku that he was going too far, that he already injured one of your classmates. That's enough. Deku would start to get angry at this, saying, "I only knocked him out like I was supposed to." All Might shook his head and went to go to Uraraka and Ida just to make sure they were okay, because the rumble was falling from the buildings. And All Might would yell at Deku, saying, "That was reckless. You're not probably gonna be a hero even if you had that much power." And Zoro would start to leap at All Might, unsheathing his swords, and All Might would do a small punch, which pushed Zoro back. Zoro would look at All Might and put on a grin as he drew his swords once again and took his stance. And then he said, "3 sword style, wind fury," as wind slashes came from his sword with lightning on them, and when they hit All Might, they began to dig into his skin and it acted like poison, which is his 3rd sword's ability, if you remember from the previous video. If not, then go rewatch the entire series. The series is really good in my opinion. All Might would then yell Texas Smash, punching his fist as a gust of wind flew at Zoro, but then he would return the gust with another gust of his own. The attacks would have collided, pushing both All Might and Zoro back, as Zoro smiled and got more and more thrilled, finding that All Might was not as weak as he thought he was. But Zoro, he would be a little bit anxious to keep going on because he was worried about like the other people inside the building. But then again, he would have missed this opportunity to fight the so-called #1 hero. So he would launch at All Might again with more intense speed, slashing his swords, almost cutting All Might a little bit, and All Might would yell, "Delaware smash, Kentucky smash," smashing Deku, no homo, smashing at Deku, trying to knock him off balance and to take away his guard. As Zoro pulled back his sword Raijin, he said lightning flash, as lightning came from his sword as it met with the winds of All Might's punches and collided, making another huge explosion, which got them both really tired out. "United States of," All Might would start to say, but then would hold his breath, and he would say, "Ultimate Detroit smash," and Zoro would say, "Kayutoyu," as images of Zoro appeared that went into him and made one being. It was the technique that he used against the dude with the like the steel thingamajiggy or Fish Island. As he was using this move, the ground shook and holes appeared where Zoro was standing, and he was wielding 9 swords. And then he said, "Kiki, Kyotori Ashura." As the smash shot that All Might punched went towards Deku, Deku would make a huge slice of wind that shot at All Might. As All Might fell, so did Deku, and they both got a little bit knocked out. Not really knocked out, but like really tired and lay on their backs. After a few minutes, Momo, seeing this, would run out of the training viewing facility and would use her creation quirk to make some healing medicine, and she would use it on Deku and All Might, slightly making them open their eyes a little bit, and All Might's time limit would be running out, and he would look at the students and tell them, "We will have to continue the training for the rest of you over the weekend, seeing that the facility is not in that best of shape," and he would leave. Momo would hit Zoro, telling him not to make her worry like that again, and All Might would be leaving, walking away coughing blood, and everybody would all make another note not to mess with Zoro, saying that he literally went toe to toe with the #1 hero, but little did they know that he wasn't going 100%. Zoro would smile at Momo and tell her it's okay. "Do you want to get some sake with me?" And she would tell him no, but that they should go and get some training done while their master is away, and they would both agree and they would go. And don't worry, the other students did take their training in a different facility, so nobody failed. As I would be looking over the video of what happened, and he would start to explain to the other pro heroes that he thinks that Zoro would be well enough ready to become a pro hero, but he needs a little bit more experience, and they want to see what he's truly capable of. They would then tell him and Nezuko, like the principal, the little rat dude, they would be talking in the office and say that maybe they should make a camp, and this is where the whole USJ arc idea came from. So the next day, they would be telling the students that they would be going to a facility to learn how to be pro heroes and save people. And now we skip to the USJ arc where 13 is explaining how quirks can be dangerous and helpful depending on their user. When Kirishima stopped them popping out of making purple portals, and Aizawa would look behind him with an expression of pure shock and horror on his face as he yelled, "13, get the kids to safety," as he charged at the villains with his scarf, as Shigaraki would then yell, "Gun Squad attack," as villains with gun quirks who were able to shoot their quirks at Aizawa, but Aizawa would try to nullify some of their quirks but would still get hit with some of the bullets. Aizawa would knock some of them out, and 13 would be trying to lead the kids to safety out of the USJ. And Momo noticed that something was wrong. Zoro was not there with them, as she looked around, turning back, and saw Zoro charging at the villains. As the villains attacked him, as one of them shot an ice spike type ability at him, while another shot small boulders at him, Zoro would just cut them and said the battle of Marineford was pretty much harder than this, as he said, as laughing. He cut through the villains, eventually meeting up with Aizawa, and Aizawa would tell him, "What are you doing here, kid?" As he took down a hero, Zoro responded by sending a dragon twister at the villains, saying, "I'm here to help you, and you look like you need it." As Aizawa told him to leave with 13, the students would see, nah. So Zoro got this. If he can go toe to toe with All Might, shit, he got this. Shit. But I'm still leaving though. I ain't trying to die. I'm not trying to die, but he got this. The students would be just looking at Zoro taking down villain after villain with his swords, and they would be impressed by him. And 13 would say, "Why don't he just let the pro heroes handle this when they arrive?" And would tell Ida to use his quirk to run and get the teachers. Ida reluctantly ran out of the USJ to warn the teachers, while the rest of the students got teleported away. Deku would have happened to yell, "Damn it!" as dozens of villagers charged at him, as he cut them one after another, slicing them. As Shigagiri saw this and said, "Nomu, attack that kid!" as a black figure charged towards Deku as it punched Zoro, who just dodged it and began to cut the Nomu. Shigaraki would then laugh and say, "Is that all you got? I created that Nomu to kill All Might. You have no chance against it." And then Deku would smirk at him and say, "If I can beat All Might, pretty sure I can beat this Nomu." And he yelled, "Dragon Twister," as he infused his Dragon Twister with lightning, wind, and poison from his sword's abilities. He also infused it with haki as the Nomu charged at the tornado. The tornado would just begin to tear through the Nomu, and the Nomu would be heard whimpering inside of the tornado and crying out. And some of the wind and poison would have attacked the Nomu's brain thingamajiggy, and the Nomu would have been knocked out the game, also being sent through the roof as in canon. Zoro would yell, "Is that all you got?" at the villains, and Shigaraki would start to bite his toenails, saying, "What the fuck is this monster? How does he beat my Nomu? Shigaraki. Katakuri would be saying, trying to calm Shigaraki down. And the remaining villains would be a little bit feared, but they would be starting to rush at Zoro with Shigaraki's instructions. Zoro would stretch out his hands, and he would make another tornado, Wind Pound Phoenix, knocking him back. More and more villains, and Shigaraki would get more and more mad, and he would scream, rush towards Zoro, and hold out his hands, trying to decay Zoro. And Zoro would just block this and parry with his sword, and somehow not making his sword decay. Him and Shigaraki were going back and forth with Zoro trying to slice Shigaraki's hands off to nullify his quirk, seeing he already knew what he could do. Zoro would say one sword style as he grabbed Raijin and yelled, "Thunder Slice," as he had once did to slice a whole tree in half. It would somewhat miss Shigaraki by a little bit, only cutting off a couple of fingers, and Shigaraki would yell, and the rest of the pro heroes would start to arrive, and Shigaraki would yell, "Fall back, troops," as they would all disappear in the purple portal. Guys, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. I have school I'm not really feeling that well, so I'm like, what is? They're gonna be uploading, but not as frequently. Like, I'll be trying to upload once a week, but I'm not really trying to get down my grades, because if I get down my grades, then I'm gonna be in serious trouble. And I hope you guys can understand. If you do, then that's great. If you don't, then just please hold with me. I'm also gonna be, I'm working on something. I'm working on something really good for the 1K special. And actually, yeah, leave a comment if you want it, because the video I'm trying to do for the 1K special, once we hit it, is what if Deku never saved Bakugo. I think it'll be really fun, and thank you guys for all the support. I really admire all of you for really trying to support my videos. Thank you so much. It means so much to me. Now go check out my other videos if you haven't. See you guys in the next video.